Hello Eurovision fans, thank you so much for coming to my channel Eurovision Histories. Piers Morgan had Sharon Osbourne and Louis Walsh on his show and they were talking about Eurovision. Piers basically said that it's a stain on humanity and a big pile of crap is, I think, a good summary of what he was saying. I want to go through all of his arguments because you might also be familiar with them when you talk to non-fans. They are the biggest misconceptions about Eurovision, and I want to show all the counter-arguments and why these opinions are basically wrong. And I also think that Sharon and Louis weren't the greatest defenders, so that's another reason to do this video. And then I will also go into why I love Eurovision and why I think it is a great show and not at all a stain on humanity. So let's go to the first argument that Piers had, and this is something that you hear a lot. The best song never wins because it's all political. Now, the first argument against that, I would say, is just looking at the last couple of winners. For example, in 2017, you had Portugal win with a song in Portuguese. Portugal has exactly one neighbor. They had never come even into the top 5 at Eurovision. And in 2017, they did have the best song and they won with a giant record number of points. And then, and this is another argument, the next year you would expect Portugal to do well again because if it's all political and only neighborhood voting, they have to do well again no matter what song they send. But they came 26th and last in the final. So obviously it's not all political and the song is very, very important. And then the next year Israel won and their neighbors aren't friendly with them, number one, and they aren't even in Eurovision. So how did Israel win then? And then the next year when the contest was held in Israel, they came 23rd. So it cannot be all politics. The next year after that, the Netherlands won. And then when they hosted, their entry came 23rd again. So obviously it isn't all political and the song is very, very important. Of course, one argument might be that last year Ukraine won because of the situation and the war, and that is actually the only year in Eurovision history where I would say that politics did play a big role in deciding the winner. However, people voted for that song because they felt a connection to it. When you see a song like this and you have in your mind the political background and everything that is going on in the country, and you hear a song about mothers and sung in the national language, it touches you too, and that is why people voted for it as well. Now, in this context, people always say, well, Serbia always votes for Croatia and Sweden always votes for Norway. They're block voting and it's all political and that's not fair. Well, that doesn't happen every year, and if it happens, there's usually an explanation for it. For example, if Serbia sends a song sung by the biggest star in the Serbian music industry, for example, Zeljko Joksimovic, and it is a song in the national language, people in Croatia understand what he is singing about. It is in a music style that they grew up with, that they know. They might be fans of his because he's also a star in the other countries of the former Yugoslavia. So these are all the reasons why this entry gets lots of points from the countries in the region. If Sweden decides to select a song, a very slick pop song, that is the kind of music that people in the Nordics like to listen to, and that is why they vote for Sweden. It's not all political. It has a lot to do with culture, with what you're used to. Terry Vaughan always criticized these other countries for voting for each other, but when Ireland came up in the voting, he always said and expected some points for the United Kingdom. Why is that okay if it's not okay that Croatia votes for Serbia? For example, Malta and Croatia also often vote for Italy because Italy sends the winner of its very popular Sanremo festival, which is also broadcast for historical reasons in Malta and Croatia. So people already know the song, are familiar with it, and they vote for what they know. Then the next argument Piers has is the show doesn't produce any successful acts. And Louis Walsh very rightfully says, well, we had Celine Dion come from Eurovision, we had ABBA come from Eurovision. And these are great examples, but they're not the most recent examples. I think we can all agree. He could have referenced Måneskin, who won Eurovision in 2021 and now are an established international band. They fill stadiums all around the world. They were nominated for a Grammy for Best New Artist and are just having having the time of their life after Eurovision. You can reference Snap by Rosalind, who represented Armenia last year and now has a worldwide hit. You can reference Arcade, the winner of 2019, which became a hit during the pandemic. And then also Sam Ryder, who came second for the United Kingdom and had a giant hit with Spaceman in the UK after Eurovision as well. The next argument was, it is all ridiculous, everyone is just trying to be outrageous. And in some parts that's true, and that's why we love the show, because it's just so entertaining to watch and to see all of these costumes and these crazy ideas that people have. At some point, Sharon says, it is so cool to see what countries think entertainment is and to see all of these different cultures, and that is definitely true. But I also think there's a big lack of understanding. Piers shows Let 3's performance from the first semi-final as something that is completely crazy and out there, and they're just trying to be outrageous. But if you really look at the song and the lyrics, there's a lot of meaning in them. Same for Finland's entry, Cha Cha Cha. Look at the meaning, look at everything they want to say, and you learn something about Croatian culture, about Finnish culture, about all of these different cultures. He also has Verka Seduchka as an example, which also is a great song that has lots of meanings, with Lascia Tumbai, meaning Russia goodbye. And why does she sing in German? What is she making fun of? There's lots of different things to discover, and if you actually take the time and look at it without prejudice, you can find all of these meanings. By the way, I have explanation videos for Finland and Croatia songs, so if you're interested in that, please check them out. It's just amazing to see all of these different cultures and try to understand them, and you learn so much more and you can grow as a person. Piers. Which brings me to his last and main argument. Eurovision is a stain on humanity, and he's obviously using hyperbole to get some clicks. It worked on me. Please don't watch the video and encourage him with this crazy opinion. But I want to use that to tell you why I love Eurovision. Now, one thing is, I see something in Eurovision that doesn't happen anywhere else. I've seen it in the comment section before the first semi-final, where many people said, I really want Latvia to qualify, even over my own country. I don't care. Kick out the Netherlands. I want Latvia to qualify. Where else do you see that people from a country support another country more than their own and wanted to do well? In 2017, I was at Eurovision in Kiev in this big hall, and 25 countries had just lost, Portugal had won, and there was just love and happiness and understanding. Imagine a soccer game where 26 countries lose or clubs lose and one wins. There are usually hooligans, there are fights, there is anger. In Eurovision, I didn't see any of that, and that is something that really makes me love this competition. In the whole concept of the voting, there's lots of internationality and tolerance already ingrained, because you cannot vote for your own country. It is a competition, and you might want your country to win, but to participate in the voting, you actually have to vote for another country. Imagine this if we had a soccer game and you had to vote for one of the opponents of your own country. It makes you think in your brain in a different way, I think, and it is a counteraction against nationalism, against over-patriotism, and I just love it for that reason. Also in the voting, every single country, from the big ones like Germany and France to the very small ones like San Marino and Malta, have exactly the same power for one evening to decide the winner of Eurovision, and I just think that is beautiful as well. It also promotes tolerance, I think, because it makes you think about, why did this song do so well? I don't like it. I don't see anything special in this song, but people all over Europe voted for it, so you start to think about it, you start to change. When I first watched Eurovision as a young guy in 2003, 2004, when I saw Lordi win, I was completely angry and I didn't understand what had happened, because my favorites were ballads and these big songs with big vocals, and then this monster band wins. But then later you start thinking, well, they had a good song and it was entertaining to watch them. And the more you get into it, the more you understand different genres of music. You become more tolerant in what you accept as the music that you like to listen to. I also lived in the Balkans for a year, and after coming back, I suddenly liked all of these Balkan ballads and the sounds that before that I didn't really understand. And I think it really makes you more tolerant as a person and also as a music lover, and it just opens so many more doors to you of music you can enjoy in many different languages, from new singers that you also wouldn't have gotten to know without Eurovision, and I just think that is lovely. So Eurovision is open for everyone as a fan, but also for the artists on stage. You can be a drag queen, you can be a drag queen with a beard, you can be a Romani singing in his own language about something that you care about, and you get a giant platform for 3 minutes and you're shown all around Europe. LGBT acts have to be shown by all the stations broadcasting it, even in countries where LGBT rights are still being suppressed. And imagine what it feels like to be an LGBT person in that country and seeing on your national broadcaster a performance that appeals to you and to your feelings. And I think that is just incredible. Same for the Romani. Imagine you're suppressed as a Romani in a certain country and you see someone representing you, your culture and your language on that giant stage. You can have a performance that's very much entrenched in your culture, like Spain or Portugal this year, but you can also have a performance that is just a pop banger like Sweden. And people have the opportunity to see all of this and then also decide what they like. And last but not least, nostalgia. A lot of us grew up watching this show with our family, maybe later with friends, having viewing parties, sharing the experience. I can remember every single year where I was when I watched the final, who was with me, and that's just a wonderful feeling, and to be part of something that has such a long history. So this is why I love Eurovision, why I think Piers Morgan is completely wrong. And I hope you can use some of these arguments to convince some of your non-fans at the viewing party tonight. Let me know if I missed anything, why you love Eurovision in the comments. And please subscribe if you want more videos on Eurovision, especially 2023. But I'm also going to do videos on the very long history of Eurovision after the grand final. So please subscribe if you want to and come back for my next video. Bye-bye.